What happens when a man on the brink of legal exile meets an angry crowd and federal agents in a Brooklyn hospital hallway? The night sky over Wyckoff Heights Medical Center was far from calm, buzzing with tension that would erupt into chaos. A lone figure sat on the sterile floor, his breath ragged, eyes darting toward the door as ICE officers approached. The man's name, Chidozie Wilson Okeke, had become a headline in Washington after officials claimed he overstayed his tourist visa. But for him, the story was far darker, with past arrests for assault and drug possession lurking behind every corner of his history. When ICE agents finally confronted him outside the hospital, they did not expect a fight that would spill into the streets. The first glint of metal in the night was the officers' batons, their voices stern as they demanded compliance. Okeke's reaction was immediate and violent. He grabbed at the nearest officer, swinging his arm with reckless force. The officer tried to restrain him, but Okeke pushed back, slamming a nearby door that sent a splash of sterile light into darkness. In the confusion, a black SUV pulled up in the hallway, its doors opening like an invitation to escape. One of the officers lifted Okeke onto the curb, the other holding his arm as if it were a rope. The medical staff watched from a distance, their faces etched with concern and disbelief at the unfolding drama. Soon enough, the quiet corridor turned into a battlefield, with protesters chanting slogans that cut through the night air. They had gathered outside to oppose ICE's actions, their voices rising in anger over the injustice they saw. Their chants grew louder as more people joined, turning the street into a sea of fists and flags. The officers were surrounded, their uniforms a stark contrast against the chaos that threatened to engulf them. At first, they tried to keep the protesters at bay, shouting commands and warning signs. But the crowd's fury was uncontained. Some threw debris at the police cars, sending metal sparks into the night. The officers' radios crackled with frantic updates from dispatch, each message a call for backup that seemed like an echo in the dark. A few protesters swarmed toward the ambulance doors, demanding answers about Okeke's fate and questioning their own safety. In the middle of it all, the hospital staff tried to maintain order, but the noise drowned out even the faintest voice. Okeke, meanwhile, remained uncooperative, his protests escalating as he screamed that he needed medical help. The officers, following procedure, took him to the nearest evaluation room for a quick assessment. Inside, doctors examined him, checking vitals and questioning his mental state with a calm professionalism that belied the turmoil outside. They determined he was not physically ill, but his aggressive behavior made them uneasy. With no medical emergency found, the officers faced a choice: leave him or continue to hold him. The decision was swift. They dragged him back into the night, onto the street where protesters awaited with clenched fists. The moment he emerged, a roar erupted, an audible wave of anger that shook the building's foundations. Protesters swarmed, chanting, "No ICE," and throwing objects at police vehicles in a desperate attempt to free him. In the chaos, officers had no choice but to restrain them, shoving people away and ordering them to step back. One officer shouted over the din, "Everyone stay calm," but his words were lost amid the clamor. The police cars suffered damage: broken glass, dented panels, and a few bruised tires. Minor injuries were reported among both officers and protesters as the night turned into an open battlefield. When the sirens finally pierced the air, backup units rushed to the scene, their lights cutting through the gloom like beacons of hope. The police force took control, separating the crowd and securing the perimeter around the hospital. Inside the building, the officers held Okeke's arm as they escorted him toward a waiting ambulance. In the back of the ambulance, a medic whispered reassurances that he would be safe from harm, but the tension was palpable. The police radio crackled again. "We've got 9 arrests on this shift, 8 charged. These charges range from resisting arrest to obstructing governmental operations, each one a heavy sentence in itself." In the aftermath, the hospital staff could only watch as the street outside turned back into quiet. Yet the echoes lingered. The night's events were captured on camera by several protesters, footage that would circulate across social media platforms. These videos show the officers' bravery and the protesters' fury in stark contrast, a visual testament to a city divided. Officials from DHS released a statement clarifying that Okeke was taken for medical evaluation after refusing compliance. They emphasized that he had been cleared by medical staff before being handed back into custody outside. The statement also highlighted the violence inflicted upon officers, stating that protesters damaged police cars and assaulted them. The NYPD confirmed they responded to a call at 10:30 p.m. ET, a response that would become crucial in restoring order. Their report indicates that 9 people were arrested, 8 now facing serious charges for their involvement. As the night faded into dawn, the city's skyline seemed to breathe, but the memory of that evening stayed etched in the minds of all who witnessed it. The story ends on a cliffhanger. What will be Okaki's fate? Will he face legal consequences, or will his actions spark a larger debate about immigration enforcement and protest rights? Only time will tell if this night's drama will change policy or simply become another chapter in the city's endless struggle. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more updates.